Confidence building is a big industry. There's like a gazillion self-help books on the subject, many of which probably don't quite live up to their promise.
Fortunately, whilst there is no doubt a psychological aspect to cycling, it is a little bit simpler to build your confidence up on the bike. So if you're currently a little bit nervous in the saddle, perhaps after a recent accident on the bike, we think that the following tips will be just what you need.
Now the first point is that if you are lacking in confidence a bit, it shouldn't be something that you then end up beating yourself up about. It's kind of inevitable that you might have a few anxieties about cycling, particularly if you've had a crash. I mean, that can be really quite traumatic. And so the important thing is to actually give yourself time, go easy on yourself, because you will end up feeling better.
With that in mind, just start off very slowly. So if you've been completely off your bike, head out on a nice gentle ride on roads with which you're familiar and upon which you are very comfortable. It's a good idea to try to understand exactly where your fear has come from and what specifically it is you are worried about. So for example, it might be that you slid out on a wet corner, or maybe you crashed on a group ride because of somebody else, or maybe a car pulled out in front of you.
Yeah, knowing the cause can then allow you to be specific in how you address the underlying issue. So it may be that you can learn from a mistake, if it was indeed a mistake that caused you to crash in the first place. Now personally, I always find it really helpful to actually be able to understand why something has happened. That way I can kind of grapple with the issue.
Where possible, you want to practice the relevant skills specifically. So if you did wipe out on a corner, you shouldn't be avoiding corners, but rather practicing them over and over again.
Now, I have had two pretty major crashes in my cycling life so far. The first of which was when I rather absent-mindedly tried to bunny hop a tram track, totally messed it up, and ended up going to oncoming traffic. And to this day, I'll confess, I have a healthy fear of tram tracks, but that's because they don't really feature in my day-to-day life very much, so I've never bothered to practice or regain my confidence.
But practice really would help you. The idea being gradually building up either in terms of the speed that you tackle something or the difficulty of whatever it is that you are doing. Then you can gradually and gently nudge the boundaries a little bit more until eventually you'll be back where you want to be.
You can also potentially overcome a lack of confidence by taking some practical steps that could address any potential cause of your anxiety. So my second major crash was a bit of a weird one in the woods on my cyclocross bike. Bizarrely, 10 years to the day after the previous one. And now my anxiety that stems from that comes from riding alone in the woods, which I've channeled into a healthy respect. So now every time I ride off-road, I have my live track shared on my Wahoo GPS, I have my location shared on my mobile phone, and I always tell someone where I'm going. And that way, I don't worry about it anymore. Fake it till you make it is a well-worn self-help phrase. But while there's no actual scientific evidence to suggest that holding a power pose or forcing a smile can actually build your self-confidence or lift your mood, it could be something that's worth trying on your bike, because there's plenty of anecdotal evidence, and actually in specific cases as well, like riding in traffic, confidence can definitely breed confidence.
And there's also some research out there that has shown that motorists tend to give cyclists more room if they're riding a little bit further from the edge of the road rather than hugging the side of it, which is the opposite of what you will tend to do when you're lacking confidence.
And if it's a skills-based accident that you're recovering from, it may be worth actually proceeding a little bit with caution in this particular instance, because actually getting straight back on in a confident manner, if you've just fallen off in a wet corner, may lead you to do exactly the same thing again.
And thinking about it now, perhaps I would have crashed less had I not been so confident, because too much confidence is also a bad thing. If I'd been a bit more nervous after each crash and had a bit more respect for my own limits, I probably would have stayed upright a bit more.
Maybe, but it's a fine line, isn't it? Because in a professional race situation, you may also have got dropped. So you kind of didn't have all that much of a choice. But certainly, as it goes back to our first point in the video, actually not beating yourself up about it is definitely the best way to start, isn't it?
Yeah, I think having a healthy respect for your own limits is a good thing, but gradually building back up is also a great thing. Hopefully we helped you to do that in this video. I would love to hear what you are most worried about on your bike. So if you are lacking confidence in something specific, let us know in the comments section down below. And I'm sure there are other viewers out there who've been in the same situation who will be able to offer you their advice too.
Yeah, and if you want to watch another video right now, again in a bit of a psychological way, why not check out how to think yourself faster? Some handy tips there on how you can persuade your mind to unlock some hidden talent.